In order to solve an equation where we have a variable inside a radical, we first need to isolate that radical on one side of the equation. So in this case, we need to add k to both sides of the equation, and that is going to give us the square root of 6k minus 26 is equal to k minus 3. Now that we've isolated the square root, we can cancel it by squaring both sides of the equation. And when we do that, we're going to end up with 6k minus 26 is equal to the quantity k minus 3 squared. If we now FOIL out the right side of the equation, we're going to have k squared minus 6k plus 9. We can subtract 6k from both sides of the equation. That's going to give us negative 26 equals k squared minus 12k plus 9. And now if we add 26 to both sides of the equation, we will end up with k squared minus 12k plus 35 is equal to 0. And from here, we can factor. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 35 and add to negative 12. We can use negative 7 and negative 5, and then solve for k. So if k minus 7 is equal to 0, we can add 7 to both sides of that equation and determine that k is equal to 7. On the other hand, if k minus 5 is equal to 0, we can add 5 to both sides of that equation, and that is going to give us that k equals 5. Now we need to check both of these solutions to make sure that they're both valid by plugging the values back into the original equation. So we're going to have the square root of 6 times 7 minus 26 minus 7 is equal to negative 3, which will be 42 minus 26 all under a square root minus 7 is equal to negative 3. The square root of 16 minus 7 is equal to negative 3, and then 4 minus 7 is equal to negative 3, which of course simplifies to negative 3 equals negative 3, and we know that 7 is a valid answer. Now we repeat the process with 5, and we get the square root of 6 times 5 minus 26 minus 5 is equal to negative 3. That's the square root of 30 minus 26 minus 5 is equal to negative 3. That gives us the square root of 4 minus 5 is equal to negative 3. 2 minus 5 is equal to negative 3. And then, of course, negative 3 is equal to negative 3. So we have two valid final answers here, k equals 7 and k equals 5.